Hey, what's up, everybody? It's the Rich Eisen Show basketball podcast. We're back. It's been a few weeks, but we're back because there's a lot going on in the association as we near closer to NBA All-Star Weekend. The conferences are starting to take shape, and there's just a lot going on. Steph Curry got ejected for throwing his mouthpiece. Like, why does he do that? Adam and TJ, as always, join me here in the Rich Eisen Show studios. What's up, guys?
We're back in the studio here. It's very cold right now. I'm kind of shivering, but I know I shouldn't be complaining because there's people in Chicago watching this, so I got to stop complaining. But yeah, that's what's going on right now. It's a little cold in here,
Back,
but it's all
TJ,
good.
what's up, man?
I mean, we're joining you. I thought we were. That it's a combination.
I know, we're all
of all
together.
Of us,
I welcome us, and you're here, and I'm here, you're there.
Here's the deal. Let me tell you what people don't pay for. Okay. People don't pay to go to a basketball game to see Steph Curry get thrown out for tossing the mouthpiece. That is one thing that nobody pays hard-earned American dollars for. Okay, let me just tell you that.
True.
Like, what are they doing? Why are you throwing out Steph?
True. I mean, Dave Time dropped 60 last day. Kind of a low-key, good association.
Yeah, man.
Oh, absolutely.
You had Ben Simmons coming back to Philly last night, and I got a bone.
That's a real thing? That happened?
Oh, yeah, it happened. I got a bone to pick with you, Brockman, because yesterday you said something that left me so dumbfounded when we went off the air, I couldn't even address it. So I decided to address it now.
Oh, lovely.
Yesterday I brought up Embiid, and we talked about why he's not getting any MVP love. And you said, well, tell your team to do better. And we went off air, and I was dumbfounded because the Sixers are in second place. They're currently on a 6-game winning streak.
You're right.
So they're 30-16. So how could they be doing any better? The man is he is dominant.
That's true. All right, so
man.
I'm here for you now. So why isn't Embiid getting MVP love?
I have no idea. The man's been runner-up 2 years in a row, so you figure that would mean that his next step would be the ascent to the crown. Joker's balling, and his team's in first place, but the fact of the matter is he won MVPs before, and his team wasn't doing that well. So I don't know what the criteria is. Like Isaiah Thomas said, Embiid fits the criteria. I don't know why he's not been chosen yet.
Yeah, I guess we could just start here, Adam. Does it seem like Jokic has already been crowned MVP this year? Kind of feels that way, doesn't it?
I don't believe so because I don't. To me, the NBA writers, whoever's associated with voting, they're not going to give Jokic 3 MVPs in a row. I just do not see that happening at all. I just don't see it happening.
He's minus money as a favorite. He's minus 150 right now.
Wow.
Then it's Luka plus 375. Then Embiid and Tatum are plus 900. So we got a massive jump. There's a big gap between Joker and Doncic for second place, and then a big jump between second and third and fourth. Tatum and Embiid 9-1, Giannis 13-1, and then a huge jump out to Ja Morant 30-1.
You've got to be pounding the table for your guy Jason Tatum right now. They have the best record in the league. He's never won MVP before. He's improved greatly since last year, and last year he had a fantastic season. How is this guy not the odds-on favorite to be the MVP right now, Chris?
You want to know what it is? It's because Jaylen Brown is almost just as good. Jaylen Brown's averaging 27, 7, 3. He's phenomenal. He is a phenomenal player. You could make a case to the best duo in the NBA. Tatum's at 31 a game. I totally agree with you. Tatum has gotten better every single year in the league, which is crazy because, TJ, I'm sorry, man, he's only 24 years old.
You don't have to keep reminding me of these things, man.
He's 24 years old.
I know.
He gets better every single year.
It's frustrating.
He's so
Don't
good.
do that, TJ.
Like I said, an improvement every single year, right? He goes from 14 points to 16 points a game in his rookie to second year. Big jump in his third year, 23. Then he was 26, 27 the last 2 years, now 31. He's really taken the leap. He was first team All-NBA last year. He's proven himself. He's now going to be in this perennial MVP talk every single year now.
With a new coach also, we have to mention that.
With a new coach. Look, it's been awesome what the Celtics have done the last 2 games, notwithstanding kind of a weird thing where we can't beat the Magic, which is really weird. But people were pointing out in 07-08 with the championship team, they struggled against a couple of poor teams, so it's kind of whatever. But, yeah, look, I don't know. I know we started here with Embiid. Let's get back to Embiid. I think Tatum is the MVP right now, but Brown's success kind of splits the vote in a weird way, if that makes sense. Luka's the Mavs record, I don't think will ever actually be good enough for Luka to win MVP, even though he's maybe the best player in the NBA. But TJ, the Sixers are just flying so under the radar,
which is fine. I'm okay
where
with that.
you don't even think about them like, oh, they have the second best record in the East. Like they're 31-16. Like that's phenomenal. Why aren't we talking about Embiid? I don't know, but we should.
I don't know either. It's, you watch that game. First of all, you had the Ben Simmons game come back, so that was interesting yesterday.
What happened? Did you guys pound them last night?
No, it was like it was a close game. What was the final score? Let me bring up the final score.
I was locked up in new bed duty last night.
I saw it was first of all, it was a high scoring game, guys. It was 137-133.
Damn.
With no Kevin Durant, Kyrie balled, of course. Embiid just did, he did his normal thing. He had actually, here's something that happened I want to point out. I don't know the Sixers are going to keep doing this, but I kind of like it. Tyrese Maxey came off the bench, and he's been six, man.
Oh, he had 27
27
last night,
off the bench because Milton's been balling. So Maxey obviously is a starter in this league, but if you're going to put this guy on the second unit, man, that's just going to be
30-10 from Kyrie last night.
30-10. Kyrie balled. He got into it with some fans sitting courtside. It was great.
But still no Durant. So like how
Nick Claxton surprisingly held. I mean, he did well against Embiid last night. It was a pretty funny thing to watch. But Embiid was bully balling a lot in that game, and you could tell there's still some dislike between him and Ben Simmons there.
Yeah.
And Ben caught himself guarding Joe at various points, especially in the beginning of the game, and Embiid just like put the shoulder down. He did the thing, Chris, that I'm always wanting him to do: stop shooting from 23 out, get your big butt underneath the rim, and put in work. And he was doing that last night to the tune of, what did he finish with? 26 and 10, 6 of 18 from the field.
A minus 16 for Ben Simmons.
What did Ben have?
He had 12.
12, 5 and 5. And by the way,
hey, whatever.
That's probably what. They'll probably would be happy with that out of Ben every day, especially
for high 20s minutes. I mean, that's
when Kevin comes back, so yeah. But
and we have to talk about James Harden also. He's really starting to figure it out.
Yep.
And if you look at his stats the last few games, he had a bad game against the Clippers, only 6 points. But you look at these numbers: 23 points, 7 assists last night, 16, 10, and 14 against Portland, 24, 7, 13 against the Lakers. So. He's really starting to figure out his role with that team, and they're clicking on all cylinders right now. It's fun to watch.
Philly looks great. I mean, for them to kind of leapfrog Milwaukee there, TJ. In the standings,
everyone's healthy right now.
Pretty impressive.
I'm happy with the way they're playing, and definitely on a positive note going into the All-Star break.
An absolute dogfight in the East.
Yeah, the second half of the season is going to be incredible.
Just that top four: Boston, Philly, Milwaukee, Brooklyn. I mean, we can look at the schedule and see how many times those teams play each other. Those matchups are going to be must-see because, look, those are more likely. I can't see Cleveland breaking through once Durant comes back. Those are going to be your top four seeds in some order in the East. And it's, look, who gets home court advantage throughout the playoffs? That's really going to matter to see who comes out and makes it to the finals.
Well, and you even see a team like the Miami Heat, who started the season playing terribly, and they're picking it up now. And I'm not saying they will win the East, but that's a team you do not want to face in the playoffs, especially if they have a healthy Bam, a healthy Jimmy Butler. That team could go, the distance.
Yeah, they're playoff tested.
Yeah, exactly. I was just gonna say that they're battle tested, man, and they have absolute warriors on that team who have kind of been through the grind since the bubble when they made it all the way to the bubble finals, and then the last couple of years, taking Boston to 7 games. Like,
the NBA is fun this year.
NBA is really fun.
The playoffs are going to be incredible.
Yeah.
There's so many good matchups potentially.
Yeah, but before we get there, there's the All-Star stuff. So let's hit on this real quick before we talk about TJ's favorite team, the LA Lakers. It just came out. So the last few years, I forget when they started it.
About 3-4 years ago.
Were the guys picking their teams? So, there's no longer the fan voting for the rosters. I mean, fan voting for the rosters, but not the teams themselves. We go with the 2 captains.
Yeah.
And the last few years, it's been Steph and LeBron. I know KD's been in there. And they just pick their teams, and they do it on Turner, and it's a really good time. I've really enjoyed it. But one of the wrinkles, everyone was like, oh, man, it would be cool if they did it on the court before the game. They're actually doing it. This is so exciting. I think this is going to be so great. Rich kind of poo-pooed it on the Big Show, which I guess I understand coming from where he how he grew up, whatever. You're the last guy picked for kickball. Like, it's a kind of a bummer, right? You don't want to be that guy. But if you're in the top 24 players in the NBA, TJ, if you go last, so what?
Yeah, exactly.
You laugh all the way to the bank, but I think this is going to be so fun. It's going to just kind of create a little edge to the game, I feel like. I don't know. I'm into it. What do you guys think?
I mean, it's like playing the pickup ball. We've all done that.
Yeah.
You're back at the Y. You're back at the, you're back
gym,
at
whatever.
Booker T. Washington and Altoona, wherever you want to do it. And you roll up on the court and you call next, and then you kind of try to assemble your team with the guys that are coming in. So this is going to be great. I'm assuming, I believe LeBron was obviously the high vote getter, and then I would assume maybe it was Giannis in the East. I'd have to double check.
If I'm not mistaken, do the fans still choose the starters though? I feel like
the fans choose the 24.
Okay.
Yeah, the fans just choose the player. Then
or the 20 or the 30.
I don't know who chooses this. I guess maybe the coaches. That's a good question. But the fans just get you into the game, and then I think that's it for fan participation. But yeah, man, think about it. But how are they going to do that? Are we literally going to have the whole pomp and circumstance, because that's what the All-Star game is? You have your Drake coming out, and then you got your dancers, and you got some comedians, and you have the intros, right? And you might have guys break dancing, and you might have the Blue Man Group. You just never know who's going to show up. I'm sure DJ Khaled is going to be there because he's everywhere.
Yeah,
and
so it looks like it's either LeBron and then either Giannis or KD, whichever finishes.
Okay, so KD, I heard, does want to make it back for the game. So is that it? So we sit there, right?
Yeah.
So we have 24 guys, and then 2 guys step forward, LeBron and let's just say
and then they pick
KD,
the team.
and then LeBron gets the first pick because he had the most votes. Now, does LeBron go, I'll take 1 or I'll take 2, 3? They figure that out. But you tell me, packed house, millions and millions watching on TV. You have guys lined up with just tank tops on in a table full of jerseys, and LeBron goes, "I want you," and you come, and you pick your jersey up, and Durant's like, "I want you." Is that how we're doing it? And then
Let's do it.
For the first time, they assemble like 5 minutes later and go, "Okay, we're a team. Let's try to run some plays." Like, how's that going to work?
Yeah, this is amazing. So here we go. This is how it goes, guys. The top 3 front court. So it's just front court. There's no center. You know what I mean? It's not broken up. It's 3 front court players, 2 guards in each conference. Those are your starters. Okay. The leading vote getters from each conference serving as captains. Fan vote is 50%. Media ballot 25%. And then a player's ballot is the other 25%. That's how the All-Stars are picked.
Okay.
And then the reserve for the starters. And then reserves are chosen by the coaches, and then 7-player panel picks of the rest of the team.
I love this because it takes it back to the playground, like we've said. Yeah. That's just fun. And who knows, if you're the last player picked, maybe there's a certain type of vengeance you have, and you go off and you become the All-Star MVP.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot more personal when it's in person. You're seeing it happen live, and I think it's going to be so fun.
Exactly what I said to Rich yesterday, because he was totally opposed to it. I'm like, no. He goes, what about the guy who's picked last? I'm like, that's the best story. Lauri Markkanen gets picked last, and guess what? Now he's got 29 and 12, and he wins All-Star Game MVP. That's your story. That's a great story, But Rich did not see it that way.
Also, we should have I was going to say that there should be a hype man also, that like when a player gets picked, like, oh, you didn't pick Steph, like, you know what I mean? Like, it could be that.
I'm sure there will be.
Yeah.
Look, think about this.
They might get my man to come down from Rucker Park and handle all that.
Think about how much drama there is in the NBA on a given night.
And TNT, they love drama.
And well done. And like, guys don't like each other. Not everybody likes each other in this league. It's
that's where you're wrong, Chris. Remember, we're in the league now where everybody does get along.
I know. I hate that. I gotta think there's some level of pettiness somewhere. So like, oh, you did this to my boy, or you slept with my girl. You know what I mean? Like, hey, oh yeah, I'm not picking you. What are you crazy? You would save a guy for the last. Who was it? Was it last year or the year before? Somebody got picked last and they were super pissed about it.
Well, remember the one year that nobody wanted to pick Harden for some reason, and he let him go last.
That's what I mean. Like, it's awesome. This is going to be so great. I can't wait. It's such a great idea.
It's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out.
I'm glad they picked it up. Okay, let's get into it, TJ, because I said something that you didn't like pre-show the other day. And
about Troy Aikman and Tony Romo, that's not a basketball discussion, though.
I stand by that. About LeBron and the all-time points thing. I need you to convince me why this is a big deal.
Yeah, Adam, Chris Brockman yesterday was saying that it's not. I don't really think it's that big of a deal that LeBron's breaking the all-time scoring record which is
That's not exactly what I said.
Well, what you
I
said
just
it
think
wasn't that big of a deal.
Compared to, well, yes, because compared to other sports, like basketball, what's basketball's sacred record? It's
100.
100-point game, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of it. That's kind of all the basketball has. Football doesn't really have anything. It was kind of Bradshaw and Montana's Super Bowl mark.
4 Super Bowls until
and
Tom
now
came
Brady
in.
has just obliterated that.
But I still think 4 has to be the benchmark
But do
because
you know-
7 is an anomaly.
But do you know? Yeah, but it's the benchmark.
But it's not. He's an anomaly,
It's
man.
the new benchmark.
What do you mean? It's the mark now. It's,
Well, then-
it's the one that's everybody's chasing.
So it used to be if you make 2 or 3 or 4 Super Bowls, you're great. Now you're going to tell me you got to win 7 Super Bowls to be considered great in the NFL? Like, come on, man.
You gotta get close.
An anomaly, man.
You gotta get close. Okay, say.
I say
But
4
what's
is
the
still
record? But what's the record for all-time touchdowns? What's the record for yards?
217 rushing, I believe, by Emmitt Smith. No, one. I used to know these numbers.
That's what I mean.
I don't know.
Nobody really knows.
I do know the points is 38,000 and something, though. I've always known that.
And something though, and something. Baseball, you know exactly what Ted Williams hit in 1941. You knew exactly how many home runs Hank Aaron had.
Because
you
baseball
knew
is
exactly how many.
Baseball is all about numbers and stats.
But all sports are about numbers and stats.
But
So
baseball in particular.
Baseball in particular, like
all sports are about numbers and stats.
okay, so
It's
now
about-
you're proving
it's
the
about-
point. So
it's
this is a
about
big
ra-
deal.
But you don't even know what the number is.
It doesn't matter.
It's a huge deal.
Bro. The whole
It's a
game is
big
about
deal.
who scores the most.
I'm not really seeing much fanfare about it online. I mean, look, everyone the other night was slurping off LeBron, and they're down by 20 points.
But
he had a
Chris-
40-point game.
but
Who
Chris-
cares? They're down by 20.
Because
so
Chris,
what is the
Once
big
it gets
deal?
closer, he's about, I don't know how many points, but it's less than 100.
He's like
it's less than
170.
200.
He's like 170.
Once
away
it gets
right
to that 50, 60 range, there will be media coverage everywhere. It's a huge deal. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar did this in, I believe, 1989. He retired. And so there hasn't been a guy that's come along since that long ago. That's over 34 years ago. It's a huge, huge deal
It's a
to have
huge deal.
that longevity and score that many points. It's something that'll probably won't happen again for another 30 or 40 years if we have another guy that can play 20 years like Kareem and LeBron have done and been so consistent their entire career.
Is this only because he's on the Lakers?
What do you mean?
What do you mean?
If he played for the Magic, would anybody care?
Is his
Yes,
name still
absolutely.
LeBron James? Yes, LeBron James could be playing for anybody. You know, you
How-
claim that you
yeah, I don't get
don't
this. I
have
don't
a problem
understand
with
this.
LeBron, but like every time it seems like you do. You're on that LeBron hate a little bit.
I'm
which
not on LeBron hate.
You
I'm on
bro.
everyone slurping LeBron.
Because, Chris, you've never seen anything like this before. In the history of basketball, which is all of our first or second favorite sport, you've never seen this. You've seen Kevin Willis go and play 20 years. Great. Kevin Willis was averaging 6 points a game. You've never seen a man at 38 years old in his 20th year in the league with all the expectations.
They're not
that
winning anything.
But we're talking
But he
about the
has
scoring.
won.
Yeah, he's won
He's
championships,
won.
and we're
He's
talking
done
about the
stuff that no one's
scoring
ever
leader
done. 9
ever.
straight finals. You're talking a guy at 38. He's still Adam. What's he averaging? 28 a game, 27 a game,
Something like that.
It's ridiculous what this guy's doing. And I got to be honest.
But
Like,
they're not winning.
okay,
Yeah, but the team has been injured. Anthony Davis has missed half the year. You have to give him the whole
he
season.
can only do what he can
Yeah.
do. It's not like they're losing and he's averaging 16. Mans is going out there putting almost 30 a night in there.
Because he's trying to get the record.
or because that's what he's done
He's
his
averaging,
entire life.
By the
Chris.
way, he's averaging 29.9. He's averaging 30 points a game right now.
So what are we saying now? He's all of a
7
sudden
assists.
just getting like generous fake buckets.
Yeah,
like
I'm just
no.
saying, it's just like it just feels like stat padding for the record.
No,
Oh, come on, bro. You don't
Brockman.
believe you come on, be serious. You can't believe that. You cannot believe
He's
that.
doing everything that he can to help that team win. It's not his fault that they're injured and his supporting cast isn't that great. He's having
It is his fault the supporting cast isn't that great. He's the GM. He's picking the players.
Okay, so then you say this. You won't put LeBron in the Hall of Fame as GM. Fine. If that's
Okay,
the
I'll
worst
give
thing
you
you're
that.
going to say about him, like, come on, man.
I'm not
This
saying
guy,
he's not having
this
a
He's
guy
having a
is
spectacular
historically
year.
great season. He's averaging 30 points, 7 assists, and 8.5 rebounds a game. That's historically
I just
great.
don't think the NBA's scoring record is like on par with Aaron's home run mark or any of that stuff.
Well,
You probably would have
how
said
about
that
this?
too until Barry Bonds got close to it because no one had been close.
yeah, but
to him.
everyone discounted Bonds from the get-go because we knew he was on steroids.
Okay, but the fact of the matter is, it's still like it was still a big deal once he got close. Like
And
no
how
one
about
had
this?
been close.
Last year, the NBA and the media made a huge deal of Steph Curry getting the all-time three-point record.
That was weird.
And this, to me, the scoring record is way more important.
That
bigger.
I do agree with you.
And so
the Steph 3-point thing last year was weird just because everybody likes him.
No, because the three-pointer has revolutionized and changed the game of basketball.
It's definitely something cool and unique that happened, but to have the all-time scoring record of every NBA player, that is a huge deal.
You scored more points than anyone in the history of basketball.
We're talking Michael Jordan. We're talking Jerry West.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Wilt Chamberlain, Kobe Bryant, Julius Erving.
Is it just because he played a long time? Like, isn't points per game more impressive?
Okay, well, guess what? His point per game average probably is about 27 too.
It's not the most all time.
No, that would probably be Wilt Chamberlain, who is another anomaly.
Well, here's what I believe. I don't think LeBron is the greatest scorer of all time, but he still can be the guy who has the most points of all time.
You hit the nail on the head. That's the thing. Remember when LeBron came into the league? He wasn't a scorer. No one ever thought he was going to be a scorer. He was mad. Everyone went to compare him to Mike, and most people didn't know said, no, this guy's more magic than he is Michael. And you took a guy who wasn't like Kevin Durant, you think pure bucket getter. Mm-hmm. You don't think that about LeBron. So the fact that LeBron is scoring at this clip when he technically isn't a scorer, which he is a scorer, but you know what I'm saying.
But in terms of like pure scorers, I think of Kobe, I think of Michael, I think of Durant as all better scorers than LeBron. But LeBron will still have the record. And we shouldn't discount the longevity, Chris. I understand what you're saying that, yeah, of course he has more points because he's played longer, but we have to give him credit for keeping his body in that incredible shape for 20 years. And that level of commitment is incredibly hard. Obviously, I think Michael Jordan's the best player of all time, and he took care of his body also, but he didn't play the amount of years that LeBron played. It wasn't even close. No. So as part of the argument for LeBron, you have to say the longevity, because it's harder to play that many more years than Jordan did. And this is coming from me, a Michael Jordan
I guess
fan.
when you add in the playoffs too, LeBron
by the way,
a lot of basketball.
That's the thing too, Chris. Remember, we got to the point where he said LeBron has actually played 6 extra seasons or 7 extra seasons, just
Olympics,
9 straight, 8 straight final. Right. So a
lot of games.
The wear and tear that this man has put on his body, the fact that it's special, man. It really is. And the thing is, like, I fall in the middle. Like, I like LeBron, I really do, but I'm not one of these like LeBron stans, as people call him, and I'm not also not a LeBron hater. So I can sit back and just look objectively, and I can tell you that the LeBron haters, right, always love to go on Twitter and talk about the LeBron blank writers and whatever, but the LeBron haters to me are far worse than the dudes who sweat LeBron. Really? Because as a hater, now it's like back in the day when Tyra Banks or Cindy Crawford, people used to go, Tyra Banks has a big forehead and Cindy Crawford has a mole. Like, you're really digging, dog. You're really digging hard to come up with something.
Man.
To come up with something bad about LeBron, you really got to like dig hard and try to find something wrong. Like, you got to try for that, man.
I said something dumb like that once about Jessica Alba. I was like, at like her peak, I was like, I don't like her knees.
You know what I mean? So to me,
my buddy looked at me like, "What did you just say?" I was like, "I don't know."
So to me, that's how it is with LeBron. If you're trashing LeBron, it's like, man, you're looking really hard to come up with something. Like, we've said this before in the show, and I'll just take myself as an example. For 20 plus years, the number one Laker hater in this city. I had greatness in the form of Kobe Bryant staring at me every year for 20 years, and I chose to be on a hate the Lakers train instead of going, wow, man, I love basketball, and this dude is really special, and I didn't really appreciate it. So when it came to LeBron, I told myself, and I've said this before, I'm always going to take my personal thoughts about whatever team he's on. Like, I had no problem until he came to the Lakers, and then I did have a little bit of, on that hate train. But what the guy does, it is amazing. I'll never say he's the greatest player ever, because I still think that's Mike. But you got to say he's something. I got to find the right description, because he is. If he's not 1A, he's 1B. You could even say 1C, because a lot of people think Kareem should be up there.
Yeah, Kareem doesn't get enough love.
He does not get enough love for what he does. But yeah, man, you got to give it up to LeBron, bro.
Right, like, he also has played 1,400 games.
LeBron?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's a lot.
Something.
it's special, man. And I tell you what, the league is definitely not going to be as good when LeBron's gone. That's just a fact.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's Tom Brady's going to quit one day, and is the NFL going to be as good without Tom Brady? Yeah, it's going to be great. Because guess what? It's like kind of like golf. You know, golf had Tiger Woods came.
Has golf been as good since Tiger's kind of not been in the mix as much?
I would say the talent is better than when Tiger played.
Do you enjoy it as much?
I do. I still enjoy golf because there's still the young guy, kind of like Tiger's sons. You know, all these guys who grew up loving and watching Tiger. They're now amazing. And
Master Sunday, when you sit down, do you feel the same amount of like Tigers playing or
different
watching Roy or one of these other guys?
I understand what your point is, but
the thing that
NBA playoffs last year were awesome, right? LeBron wasn't in it.
It was
and we still had a great time watching
we
it.
noticed it every step of the way.
But it was still a fun final.
LeBron being part of the conversation is great because he is divisive. And so, like you said, you have the haters and you have the super fans of his, and that does make the NBA more interesting. It just does. When there's more people that care about one specific player. To me, he's always been more unlikable than Jordan. Obviously, Michael Jordan was universally loved except for like Knicks fans and Cavs fans and Pacers fans and stuff like that. Yeah. But LeBron has overall received way more hate than MJ ever did.
Yeah, unnecessarily.
Whatever you think. Probably unnecessarily. Obviously, the decision.
Well, let me ask you, what has he done to garner the hatred?
What?
Just be really good at basketball?
Listen, I'm not a hater against LeBron. I'm bitter that he didn't join the Bulls in 2010, and I've always been bitter about that.
I understand
because
that.
we could have had a dynasty. I'm bitter about that. The hate, looking in retrospect, doesn't make sense, but at the time it made sense about the decision.
I still think that's weird.
The decision, not only the decision, but the joining of a super team. The super team was never really done before. You could kind of say that the Lakers of Karl Malone and Gary Payton joining Kobe and Shaq, that failed. But the real first super team that set the trend for the next 3 years.
No, but that was a trade. That wasn't free agency.
No, that was different. We're talking about free agents specifically planning to join together on one specific team with him and Chris Bosh deciding to join the Heat. And so, to me, a lot of people got angry with that. And they're like, oh, these guys are just going to join up and just dominate, and it's not fair anymore.
Well, also
and the Warriors
they kind of had a parade before they'd ever played a game and was like, oh, we're going to win 7 titles.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, and they've kind of became the villains of the league, which I think is awesome. Like,
you love the villains.
I love villains. Sports really need villains. Like, we kind of need someone to rally around to hate, and it's kind of fun.
I don't know if that's totally necessary, but I see your point.
I think it's kind of, I mean, in a weird way, it's necessary. The thing about the Warriors is that they were just too likable. And now that Draymond has kind of, turned himself into a big heel, like it's kind of gone the other way. But, Kevin Durant joining the Warriors kind of gave everyone a team to kind of
boo.
Yeah, boo and kind of rally around and kind of hate and want to see him fail in a weird way. But yeah, I know. I see what you're saying. Like, and then LeBron going to the Lakers. Like, the only people who like Lakers fans are people who live here. Like, the Lakers are they're like the Yankees. And, nobody really likes them except the people who live in their area. And so it's like, oh, he joined the Lakers? Ugh, boo that man, So, whatever.
And I don't agree, but a lot of people say that LeBron complains constantly. No, and he does, really obnoxious, but he does complain a lot, but not to the point where I think he deserves that much hate for it.
True, and like I've said before, you go back and you look at all the greats, man. Tim Duncan and Kobe Bryant collectively never committed a foul if you were to watch them. Luka is Luka, by the way, is far more demonstrative about a call than LeBron is.
I agree with
period.
you.
Like, Luka goes off
and
every time.
I will say, that was one thing about Tatum that really frustrated me the last few years. It's just like, get back on defense. Okay, you didn't get the call. It's disrespectful.
You're
an elite player. I know you deserve the call there. You didn't get it. Get your ass back on defense and make a stop. And he's kind of curtailed that a little bit this season, which is nice to see. But hey, look, LeBron is 5th all-time points per game. Jordan and Wilt are 1 and 2. Can you name 3 and 4?
Elgin Baylor.
Kevin Durant.
Jerry West.
27.4. Kevin Durant, 27.3. LeBron, 27.2. Jerry West, 27.0. And then TJ's favorite, Allen Iverson, 26.7.
I'm the truth like AI. Let me tell you something. If Allen Iverson was 6 feet 3 inches, the whole history of the earth would have been a different story. All right.
The whole history of the earth?
You're lucky Allen Iverson was only 5'11 and a half. Okay. That's all I'm saying.
All right, real quick, TJ, you were not in the building for Clippers Lakers, but you did go to Clippers Sixers.
I went to
right?
Clippers Sixers. I have to be in the building every year for that one.
And then what did you think of the Clippers Lakers? Nice beatdown the other night.
It's almost to the point now where it's just like, okay, like, do we have to do this? I gotta be honest with you. At some point, I'm kind of hoping the Lakers win at least a game. It's like, after a while, you just keep beating them up and beating them up and beating them up. It's not fun anymore. It's 10 in a row. We run LA. It's just not fun. I mean, by the way, we don't run LA.
The other day, Smitch goes, ask TJ when the parade was for the regular season win.
That's fine. That's fine.
Oh, something real quick. We were talking about this the other day, and we'll wrap up on this. Teams that win championships that you'd be most surprised by.
Oh yeah, that was.
So let's stick to the NBA here. Which team, if they won an NBA championship in the next couple of years, would surprise you the most?
Just any team in general?
Yeah.
Just like, oh man, that team won a title. Like, what would shock you, NBA wise? Because we were talking about this with other sports.
I'll tell you, it'll be the Clippers for me.
Just a team that's always been
always something,
cursed.
They've always stunk. And
somebody
then
gets hurt in the playoffs.
when you think they're good,
Right.
then the hamstring goes and the finger breaks and the quad pops, or the ACL gets destroyed on a dunk. When you obliterate another human being in midair, which was happening to Kawhi, there's always something with these Clippers. And I've gone over this. This curse is real. I believe it. I hope someone is able to pull the pin out of the voodoo doll's head at some point. But yeah, that would be a team. Think about it, the Los Angeles Clippers winning an NBA title.
Wild. That's what we were talking, because we were talking about the NFL, Adam, and we were like, man, the Saints winning that Super Bowl in 2009 was like, dude, anybody can win a Super Bowl.
I've got a team.
Because I didn't think they would ever win. And then we were kind of talking about, man, that's kind of like the Chargers now, or the Lions. Like, if they ever won a Super, or the Vikings.
To me, it's the Phoenix Suns.
Oh.
And they're a team that made the finals a couple years ago. But imagine if the Suns won the championship.
They were up 2-0 against Milwaukee.
They were right there. But imagine a couple years later, now, if the Phoenix Suns
I don't
won
want to interrupt. I don't think that's so weird, because remember, Phoenix has always been pretty good.
Yeah, but they're that team that, at least to me, they're the team that can never get it over the top. They can never be the number one team. They were close, but especially 2 years later now, Chris Paul's way older. Devin Booker's been dealing with some injuries. If that team won the championship, I would be like, wow, like,
I get you.
That's surprising. They beat Milwaukee or they beat Boston. I think they're a good team and they can make a playoff run, but they're, to me, one of those teams that will never get over the hump and win the championship.
Yeah, I think for me, it's kind of the Knicks in that sense. Like, the Knicks winning a championship would absolutely blow my mind. Like, they always find a way to blow it. They're hiring the wrong coach. They're making the wrong draft pick. They sign the wrong free agent. They think this person's coming, and then like, what? Oh, they go to Brooklyn instead. They're like, in your face. It's just like,
Psych.
if the Knicks just can't get it out of the way, like crappy ownership. Like, if they ever won a title, I would be absolutely stunned. Sorry to say, Ben
I thought we were talking more about contenders, though. I didn't realize we were like going to the bottom.
No, I'm just talking about like, if any
barrel.
team like won a championship, like who would, even just in your lifetime, you would be shocked.
Okay, maybe not the Suns necessarily. Then I'd probably go with what you said, the Knicks, because until they get rid of that owner, the Suns just got a new owner who's supposed to be awesome. The Suns' new owner, I don't know if you guys know, he played on the Final Four team of Michigan State when they had Mateen Cleaves and Mo Pete.
I heard that. Yeah,
and so you have a guy that's young. He's in his 40s. He's a billionaire. He loves basketball, and he knows the game. He's maybe one of the only owners that's actually played in Division I basketball. So
He might be. Yeah.
So scratch that. Actually, if you're talking long term, just bottom of the barrel teams, I agree with you.
We're talking historical.
Yeah,
just like if they won a title, like, you just think about it, you're like, oh man, if the
and they haven't won since what, 73, I believe, or 72.
It's accurate, bro.
And the Knicks, I love watching the Knicks when they're good. That rivalry the Bulls had when I was a young kid with the Knicks in the 1990s was so fun to watch. That Madison Square Garden crowd, they rock like no other crowd does in the playoffs. that stadium is so fun to be around and just watch on TV.
Remember how everyone went apeshit a couple years ago? They won a playoff game at home, and like people celebrated like it was a championship.
Yeah, give Spike Lee his last. Give him.
Man, F that guy. I got beef with him.
Hey, watch your mouth.
Oh yeah.
Watch your mouth. Just because Spike moted you on Twitter once,
Oh, we're actually coming up on the anniversary. All right, let's get out of here. But real quick, be remiss if we didn't mention today's the anniversary of Kobe and Gigi and the rest of everyone on the helicopter flights passing. 3 years, guys. It's been 3 years. Can you believe it? I'll never forget that day as long as I live. It was the kind of the moment that kind of changed everything in the last 3 years. I feel like, TJ, we talked about that. We watched the Lakers-Sixers game the night before.
And just to jump in there.
And Kobe passed LeBron on the all-time LeBron passed Kobe on the all-time scoring list that night.
And you and I watched that game, and all we did that whole game was talk about Kobe, man. We talked about, like, you think Kobe's cool with this? You think Kobe would beat it? Like, and the next day, like you said.
One of his last tweets was, like, congratulating LeBron.
That was his last tweet, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
And then the next day, everything changed forever.
And it's one of those things that, you will remember where you were forever and ever. And like Chris Brockman, if you and I, for whatever reason, we never see each other past 1:10 today, I'll still 20 years from now go, oh yeah, Chris Brockman, I was with him the day Kobe died, because you got the phone call while we were walking. We were in Miami going to pick up Super Bowl credentials. You got the phone call. I remember you stopping short in the middle of the street going, what? And it was just, and then you said those words, bro. And you're right. That started that started 2020 in its downward spiral, because that happened. And then 2 months later, COVID happened, and things just ain't been the same since. Yeah. So,
and it's so crazy. Awful, man. Like we woke up today, and normally I've worn the Kobe jersey the last couple of years, and I completely forgot.
I thought it was yesterday. It
totally slipped my mind that it was today, and I kind of like feel bad that I missed it. That I just I didn't wake up, and that wasn't the first thing I thought of, and in a weird way, I feel bad about that. But yeah, everything changed that day, Adam, and it's weird. It's still just seeing people post clips today. Someone posted a clip of him on Kimmel. And it's just...
he was so young, 41. 41 years old, still had his whole life ahead of him. Granted, he has a legacy that will last forever. Just with how he inspired people and inspired the next generation of NBA players. You look at NBA games on a daily basis, there's always players wearing his shoes.
Yeah.
So that's a huge legacy, just even his shoes, that carries his memory.
He was worldwide, man. He was
in Asia. Man. In Asia, he was the most popular player.
Yeah, and just the whole like Mamba mentality. Jason Tatum loves Kobe Bryant,
and what he did also for women's sports. Him being a girl dad, him being really. It would have been amazing to see how he would have pushed women's sports, because one thing I know we've discussed, maybe not on this show, is whenever women's basketball gets brought up on Twitter, you're going to ultimately always see these jerk-off kids who write these, make a sandwich or go back in the kitchen. And I'm here to tell you,
they don't dunk. It's not exciting.
Not one male who plays basketball, who's good at basketball, will ever knock a female. Right. Because like I grew up, Altoona High, like my high school, for as little as we were in the little town I'm from, we're a 2-time USA Today national championships, Altoona Lady Lions. Like where I grew up.
My high school, I went to Stevenson High School in Lincolnshire, Illinois. We had the Catching sisters, Tanya and Tamika.
Okay.
I mean, come on. So I remember watching them when I was a kid, and I was like, I was in awe of them.
Yeah, man. And so like when you just see like these goofy guys who write these stuff about these female ballers, trust me, like unless you're really, really, really super dope, any one of these girls is going to eat you up. So it just would be interesting to see how he could help change the perception and hopefully the way some of these knucklehead kids look at the women's game. And, Kobe was at the forefront of that, man. But one thing I want to do, because I think I did it last year, because, I was in a situation where I had a lot of friends who were, famous. And one of our biggest fears was to say something were to happen, and it'd always be like, this guy passed and friend. And I never wanted to be the friend. So what I always like to do is I just always like to remember those who were in that wreck with him. And that was Kobe, that was Gigi, that was John Altobelli, that was his wife, Carrie, their daughter, Alyssa. Think about that, man. That's awful. Peyton Chester, her mom, Sarah, basketball coach, Christina Mauser, and the pilot, Era Zobayan. So we want to say rest in peace and rest in love to those souls that we lost, man. Just truly tragic.
A thing I've seen that's beautiful on Instagram is it seems that Paul Gasol has kind of taken the father-like role to Kobe's kids.
Yeah, like a big godfather.
Yeah, they've posted a lot of pictures of him with them, making sure they're okay. And I know him and Rob Pelinka, they're very close with Kobe's family. And so they've kind of taken that, like you said, the godfather type role.
Sabrina's always down there, like hanging out with them.
And that's who just got engaged too, by the way.
Yeah.
Shout out to her.
Awesome. So that's how we're going to end today's show, this week's show. Thank you guys for listening and watching. TJ, Adam, thank you guys. I love you guys. And RIP to the great Kobe Bryant.
All right. Peace.